Oh, what is that? Trying to go into a second song. My name's Nate Manahan here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it is time for the high five, but not with three people, just two, because sometimes we just got to cream rises to the top, or Brian Linky can't be with us. But on the left-hand side of your screen is Mr. Danny Shard, joining us from Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Life is good. How far are you hitting on the golf course right now, Mr. Danny Shard?
I've only gotten to play a handful of times. I play on Tuesday afternoons, and then actually took my wife out last night, so it was kind of
Oh,
nice. But I could push it out there about 300 if I hit a good one. So
there we go.
not too bad.
See, you're getting there and you're warming up. You got to get
But I'm
getting.
at altitude. That's the thing, right? And not that I like admitting that and kind of bursting my ego a little bit, but whenever you're at 6,000 feet, you can hit it about as far as these guys do at sea level. So it makes me feel better.
All right. So if you were in Rochester, New York, where it's like 44 degrees right now and had a frost warning, you could probably still hit it, 275, 280, even at the 600. I don't know
About
what they were.
260. About 260. Yeah, it's a
Hey,
different world. It's a totally different world.
for those who don't know, there is a PGA championship going on. That's my golf knowledge. I know I have no idea who's leading, or I'm sure Danny could tell you the top 10 of the leaderboard right now. I just know that I'm proud that I know that there is something like that happening right now. So, all right.
I'm proud that you said that. That's good to hear.
So look,
I'm watching it right now. Bryson DeChambeau's in the lead, and Scotty Scheffler's chasing him. So
look, hey, there we go. Scheffler was, and I
exciting.
know that Scheffler was plus 700 going in. At least that's the latest odds I
Yep.
saw yesterday. And DeChambeau
Yep.
was way down. So you could probably get him plus 1,500 leading the day if he would lead the day, something like that.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. That's a good bet.
All right. This is not the Degenerate Gambler Show. This is what in the world do we do now that we have so many doggone choices when it comes to doing dual pricing? We announced last week that you can do Valor and you can do PayTrade. Sorry. Valor. See, I screwed up. You can do Valor and Dejavoo terminals that do dual pricing. And if you can go to ppt.equipment, you could sign up for a training next Monday at noon. Or yesterday we announced PayAnywhere now has dual pricing, and it's pushed to all the devices except for iOS, and that will be coming momentarily, probably by the end of the weekend or early next week. But Danny, I mean, that's way too many options. How do I choose PayAnywhere, Valor Paytech, or Dejavoo to start with when I'm looking for a terminal to do dual pricing?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Nate. And if you know anything about PaperTech, whether you're new to us and just coming on, or you've been with us for some time, we're all about options and all about variety. We want to give you as many tools as you need to be successful out there, right? And some of it's going to be with your confidence and what you're comfortable with too. So you're going to see a lot of similarities in these products. I would say PayAnywhere is a step above in some ways as far as the functionality of the application, right? So it's going to be able to do a few more things, like adding some inventory in there. You can add items. You're going to be able to adjust things on the settings within your PayAnywhere application. There's a few more things that PayAnywhere can do that Valor and Dejavoo just aren't built for. There's also a few things that Valor and Dejavoo can do that PayAnywhere is just not able to do, right? For example, one of our partners has set up one of these as a test account, and it has an automatic email going to the merchant as soon as the batch is completed on the terminal. That's not something that we have built into PayAnywhere, so that's unique. But as you're getting familiar with these devices, it's a great question. Which one are you going to feel more comfortable with? And you might find that you might pivot to either one of these on a per merchant basis. You're going to see a lot of similarities between Valor and Dejavoo. Some of you have had great experiences with either of those, and you might, kind of lean in one of those directions. Same with PayAnywhere, right? We know PayAnywhere always hasn't been perfect, and it's continuing to evolve as it's getting better and better. Some partners have had an experience that they're just not willing to consider, and you might want to just look at Valor and Dejavoo. And some partners are going to be way more open to it, understanding what PayAnywhere or where it was, where it is now, and what it's looking towards being. And we've got a lot of good accounts set up on PayAnywhere too. So, giving you these options, I think, is the most important thing for us. All of these could do dual pricing. So the presentation that you have as far as the pricing conversation to your merchants is consistent. And it's really a matter of what type of features they need and what you feel like the merchant's going to be best set up with, and kind of go from there.
All right. So one of the other things that happens is that we've been saying, hey, however you want to set people up, whether it's cash discounting or it's surcharging, or it's dual pricing, have a solution for you. So can you kind of differentiate specifically in these three terminals, how they differentiate, how they present dual pricing, and all those pieces? What's the best way to present that as you look at each terminal? Because they all have a slightly different way of doing it.
Yeah. So the dual pricing piece of it is going to be pretty consistent across the board, right? The screen on the device is going to show card price, cash price. On the bigger, more, larger systems with PayAnywhere, the E600, the E700s, they've got customer facing screens. The customer is going to be presented with a cash price and a card price, or I think it's listed as a retail price and a cash price on the screen. So they can select it as they're actually running the transaction on their end on their own screen. We're going to see a lot of popularity around Valor and Dejavoo, especially those that we want to get the customer facing devices in front of those customers, in front of those merchants anyway. And having the option there for them to select on a per transaction basis, I think that's really the experience that we're looking for these customers to have, and that merchants want their customers to have, right? Not every merchant's going to be set up to do that or going to want to do that. So they're still going to have the option on their screen for cash price or retail price and card price. Surcharging, I'm having more conversations about surcharging than I ever did before, which I'm a little bit surprised about, considering that, Visa's announcement really didn't change the scope or anything about how we're having conversations around, what's always been cash discount, or now as we're, pivoting to more defining this as a dual pricing type of program and having the solutions to kind of back that up, right? Surcharge has always and will always be the same program that we've sold against as we've started our edge cash discount dual pricing type of programs, right? And it's, only applying to credit cards. Previous to April 15th, you had to go onto Visa's website, do the whole registration thing. It was a pain in the butt. You had to get their signage, and then you could only do it on certain card types, right? On cards that were credit cards, no debit cards processed as a credit or anything like that. So from a reconciliation perspective, it's very difficult. But now, as Visa's announced, dropping the surcharge cap to 3%, that's kind of making everybody question, what they're doing and if what we're doing is still compliant. And it absolutely is, right? Dual pricing programs, similar to what you've seen at gas stations all along, have always been able to be done when it's done the right way and it's presented to the consumer like that, especially at the point of purchase. And now that this technology exists, dual pricing couldn't be cleaner and more compliant than ever before. So we're encouraging to go in this direction. But we're having a lot of people that are still kind of leaning towards just offering surcharge programs. PayAnywhere is not going to be able to do this. Valor and Dejavoo both have the ability to do surcharge programs. And what does that mean? That means the terminal can actually be set up to identify the bin range of the card that's accepted, even if it's processed as a credit. If it's a debit card, it's not going to apply the fee. It's all going to build in a line item on the receipt, which is what true surcharging is meant for. Only on credit cards, line item on the receipt, signage from the in front of the consumer that says a surcharge is applied to credit cards. At that point, there's still 2 states that don't allow it. So there's some things that you're getting into as you're trying to look at which direction to go. And you might find that some merchants want to do surcharging versus an edge dual pricing type of program. And the majority of merchants are going to want to eliminate all their processing fees and get that down to a 0 bill and that kind of thing. So just knowing that you've got these options, depending on the merchant and what direction that they want to go in, obviously you're going to push and sell and encourage them to go in the dual pricing direction. But if they want to do that surcharge type of program, you've got an option with these types of devices, and they'll do everything the way you want it to be done.
Doing it the PayProtect way, we give you the options. We make sure you have every opportunity, and we continue to fight on behalf of the partners and your merchants to make sure you have the best solutions. Alberto asked Danny, for clients who are already using PayAnywhere, do they have to do anything on their end in order to see the dual pricing on their terminals? Are there some setup pieces that they need to do?
No, so an update is going to be pushed. We actually learned this afternoon that we're actually waiting on PAX to push the update out. So it's been released on the Payments Hub backend, as well as on the app for users that have it on their own devices. But on our PAX devices and Androids, we're going to see this update pushed out. Your merchants won't have to do anything. They'll automatically be prompted to take the update. Once that update's done, then they'll see the dual pricing option. It's actually automatically going to be turned on for everybody, but they can go in the settings and turn it off if they'd like to. So And if you need some help with that, just let us know, and our PayAnywhere support team is going to be able to help.
And then last question, if we don't have any more live questions, Danny, is when you have so many solutions and you've walked us through why you may choose some of these solutions over the other, do you recommend maybe testing a couple, or, how do you recommend getting someone's a month or 2 months down the road may say, hey, PayAnywhere's my thing, or I really love how Valor does it, or I love how Dejavoo. How do you suggest they put their toe in the water to kind of see what's best for them and how they serve their merchants?
Yeah, I absolutely do encourage you getting familiar with each device. As we roll out, Valor and Dejavoo, you've heard in previous announcements, we're going to pay the PayAnywhere equivalent bonus, right? So you're going to get an additional $300 on those devices as well for merchants on our Edge dual pricing program, priced above 3.5%. They can qualify for placements on these devices, and you're going to earn an additional $300. It's not going to be paid out automatically. It's going to be a manual bonus that's paid out after the fact, but you're going to get 600 on these just like you get PayAnywhere. So I really want you guys to use this as an opportunity to test these on a few different merchants. Obviously, if you like PayAnywhere, stick with it. That's our staple product, and we're going to continue to grow and evolve that. And there's more options and features in that than these other terminals from the merchant's perspective for most cases. But as you kind of get familiar with all these, put one in each location as you sign your next handful of deals, right? Really learn which one you like best. And then more importantly, you're going to be able to get some feedback from some of those users, right, that start to use it. And some are going to provide good feedback, positive, negative, and kind of help which direction you go and what you're going to be the biggest advocate for. But knowing that you've got all these options, you also might have merchants, which we have plenty of, that these merchants know what they want. Right. So you might come across a merchant that wants a Valor, right, or wants a Dejavoo. So you just knowing how it works and understanding the system in general is just going to help you be able to accommodate any of those scenarios. So I encourage you to try each one. And I think you'll find the one you like, or find your first, second, and third and go from there.
And here's a reminder, if you're really wanting to jump in, be one of the first people to place, we already have several partners that have done it, Valor or Dejavoo Valor Paytech or Dejavoo terminals, you need to sign up for the training next Monday, May 22nd at noon Eastern time, 9 Pacific. That's 10 Central, 11 Mountain time. I covered them all and I did it correctly. Go to ppt.equipment and sign it up on Zoom. You'll be able to get into that Zoom. Billy and Paul and our operations team, I'll be on the call. Danny may even jump on for a second. I don't know. But they're going to walk you through the process to be able to place these terminals in with your merchants. That's a way to put a toe in there. We're giving an additional $300 bonus through the end of June for you to be able to learn about Valor and Dejavoo's. And of course, your PayAnywhere's you already have the access to, especially when it pushes to iOS, I think early next week. Danny, did you, maybe I haven't I've been in meetings all day. I don't know if there's been any up on a day on that. My understanding was that was going to be early next week. iOS should get approved as soon as Apple approves it.
Yeah. They're hoping in the next 1 to 2 business days. Any iOS releases are waiting on Apple. Android PAX works a lot faster. So we're expecting PAX, later today, tomorrow. That's going to push that update to merchants, but the release is in place, and, we couldn't be more excited about it. So yeah, I would just say in the coming days, it's going to be available across the board.
I love it. All right. All the options that you have as we close out, Danny, and, we got, a quick show, little bit, a little music here, Grove. What do you say to our partners to excite them about that's a lot of opportunities that we've gotten in the last week. As I was counting earlier today, I think 8 different platforms, I think it's 13 different pieces of hardware. Plus, if you start counting all the peripherals, it's over 20 pieces of hardware that can now do dual pricing. That's a lot of opportunity. What do you say to our partners as we close off today?
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited to roll a lot of these new solutions out, and like I said before, I think just giving you the variety of options that you need is the most important thing to us, right? We want you to be able to sell more, and having access to all these solutions can help you do it. I got to tell you, these high fives aren't nearly as fun without Brian Linke, so he'll be on the next one. But good selling. Get out there, start having these conversations, start talking to merchants about dual pricing, start placing some of these as early as Monday, Tuesday of next week, and get familiar with them. And I think you're going to like what you see.
All right. On behalf of Brian Linke, who is not in absentia, that sounds like a good term this type of year, graduation time of year. In absentia, Brian Linke, Mr. Danny Shard, and myself, Nate Manahan. We say high five, everybody. We'll see you next time.